Good morning, and we are live. It is good to be here with you. Let's dive right in. Good morning, everybody. It is good to be with you folks. It is. It is. I am very excited to be here. We're going to roundtable this a little bit all throughout the show. We're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to stop. We're going to talk about what you're talking about. And I tell you why. Do you folks know where that are regular members of the, audience, regulars here? Okay. Members of our community, you know where I stand. But it seems like every time something happens, because of the extremism on these issues, I've got to re explain everything. And I just catch so much hate because I will not, I don't. You need real information, period. We can't just rah, rah, rah for a team or whatever. It's got to be real information, or we can't make decisions. So in this latest dust up with Iran, I've been completely frank about it. And you know me, I do support Israel's right to exist strongly. There is a left in Israel headed by Yair Golan, and you know Netanyahu is not Israel as much as he likes to portray it, and as much as the people that hate Israel and the bigots and all that, and everybody wants to pretend Netanyahu is Israel. Hell, Netanyahu tries to pretend he is Israel. He's not. He is not. There is an entire vibrant left of center, center left group of people in Israel that aren't digging what's going on in Gaza. They don't like what's going on in Iran. Period. They exist. Yet I catch so much freaking hate because I am calling out the absolute ridiculousness of what's going on in Iran right now. This is bullshit. It is. Trump is starting another war for nothing, for no reason. I'll give you the actual reasons here in a minute, but for no reason. So I am catching so much hate from the Jewish community, where I normally catch hate from the Muslim community, because I refuse to condemn all of Israel. No matter what I do, no matter what I say, as long as if I tell the truth about a situation, tell people what's actually going on, I'm catching hate. So it got me thinking, where are you folks on this? We're a community here. I want to know where you folks are coming, standing on all of this. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on. And then I want to just immediately begin to roundtable this, get your thoughts and feelings, and address everything that's happening as it's happening. This is, let me back up so you can get an idea where it is, what we're talking about. We're talking about the Mediterranean, and we're talking about a shootout between Israel, of course, Israel here, and Iran here. This is the Isle of Crete. You see Greece, Mediterranean, Suda Air Force Base is specifically where we're talking about. This is the Isle of Crete, and this is Suda Air Force Base. This is tactically important to us for a number of reasons. It's, just geography for one, gives us access to North Africa, Algeria. You can just look at this and you can see regionally why it's so important. Then you also have Aviano in Italy. This is Aviano Air Base in Italy. Give you an idea where its general location is. There's a lot of people when you talk about Aviano, they think it's down here, and it's not. It's in, damn near the Alps. I mean, it's in northern Italy. Aviano Air Base, critically important. A lot of history there from World War II. Why are we talking about Pseudo and Aviano? Because, well, this just happened. We're on the move, folks. We're on the march. And I don't mean the kind of march that, is maybe, we don't know. No, we're doing the kind of things that we're getting involved in Iran. We are. We're at war with Iran. We are. Trump has demanded their surrender. Oh. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? But he did. He said that. Trump demands Iran's surrender. So apparently we're at war. But yeah, we're moving troops and assets to the UK, Europe, and more importantly to Aviano and Suda Bay. This is an image of Suda Air Force Base. And these are what we're talking about. These are KC-135s. You see the 4-engine planes. They're KC-135 strata tankers. And you look over here, you see these 2-engine tankers. That's the newer KC-46 Pegasus. We've moved a bunch more of these here. And what do we use those for? Why are they important? What does it mean? What does it tell us as to what's happening? Yeah, it means this. We're going to be doing a lot of this. Where they strategically move these tankers, flying tankers, is to refuel our bombers, B-2s and B-52s. Yeah, that's the first thing you do. I mean, you don't send the bombers first and then the gas stations later. No, you send in the flying gas stations first and then the bombers. And of course, if you're going to send the B-2s and then, of course, the big B-52s in, you're going to send in the B-2s and the big B-52s. Well, they're going to need air cover. They're going to need protection. So we moved another carrier battle group into the region, the USS Nimitz. Not the Truman, because I guess we don't want to throw a bunch more planes out into the ocean. But yeah, the Nimitz. The Nimitz is steaming to take up positions where they can provide air cover for our bombers. So yeah, we're going to war. And it's insane to me. Just insane to me. I apologize. Apparently the maps didn't come up. Technical problem. My operator error. Let's be honest. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for calling it out. 1 second. It's kind of important, so I'll pull them back up. 1 second. Thanks for being so patient with me. I'm sorry. Sorry about the technical error. That was my fault. That was my fault. Are we sharing now? If I don't wait long enough to click over, sometimes it doesn't share. That's my fault. That's my fault. All right, we're sharing now. Got it. This is Suda Air Force Base. Suda Air Force Base on the Isle of Crete. This is Crete. And this will give you an idea of where Crete is and why it's important. And strategically, you can see why it is so critically important to any operations in North Africa, any operations in the Middle East. Suda Air Force Base is critically important. Like I showed the picture, we're moving even more tankers there. And of course, I was talking about Aviano. Aviano, like I said, a lot of people, when you talk about Aviano in Italy, they think, that it's down in southern Italy, down here, the lower part of the boot. It is not. It is in Europe. It is, I mean, in damn near in Central Europe. It is up here by the Alps. Again, critically important for any operations that are going to go on in the Middle East or Eastern Europe. It had a lot of history there. During World War II, it was critically important. But yeah, y'all get the idea. Y'all get the idea of what's going on. If I can be a little bit crass, there is an expression. You'll hear guys in the military talk about this and their decision to engage, but you don't put on a condom unless you intend to screw. And you don't move a ton of tanker aircraft into position if you don't intend to have bombers flying over. They're not there for entertainment, folks. They're not. We are going to, because Trump is facing a series of failures on his part. Yeah, our young men are going to be engaged in combat activity in Iran. War. We're going to war with Iran. George Allen, sending you a bit. Texas Paul, love the show. Unless Trump chickens out, which he might, we're going to war with Iran. And I'm not okay with it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not supporting this. I am not. And there's a number of reasons why. Jordan, one love letter from Khomeini to Trump, and Iran will have nuclear weapons just like North Korea. I'm telling you, that's the problem. Is we don't have any credibility. I mean, Trump's like a windsock. From one day to the next, you don't know what he's going to do or where he's at. When this is not popular. I'm not seeing a lot of people that are screaming, yeah, oh yeah, take it to Iran. Let's go to war. When the fact that it's unpopular becomes known to Trump, you don't know what he's going to do. And I normally, under normal circumstances, I can say, okay, look, this is going to happen. This is in all likelihood is what's going to happen. It's like us moving all these KC-46s, KC-135s into place. I can tell you, they are there so that bombers can go from the States all the way, from and our bases in UK and Ramstein, all the way to the Middle East. They're there so that those bombers can ferry back and forth. Because we're not going to put B-2 bombers on Crete. We're not. We're just not. That's too damn close. They're too damn expensive. We're going to make them fly. Don Raiden, Texas Paul, thank you for all the hard work you put in keeping us informed, Mrs. Texas Paul, and all the support she gives you behind the scenes. P.S. I got my Texas Paul mug in the mail yesterday. I'm glad, Don. I'm glad it showed up. I really enjoy putting those out. I do. Amy Manuel, I'm a Jewish Texan. I agree with you. Netanyahu needs to go, and Israel needs to quit bombing everywhere. Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know, man. And I'm looking for you. You're some of the smartest people I know. If there's an argument for why this is a good thing, I haven't heard it yet. I haven't heard it yet. I do know that MAGA and a bunch of the right wingers are out there beating their chests and they think it's a good thing, but it's, yeah, no one else. No one else. When the Christian nationalists want to trigger the second coming, it's it's hard to really get into the nuances when people with money do this. Yeah, there's just a lot of craziness surrounding all of this, and yeah, I get the sentiment. Illegal products. When is war smart? I mean, war is failure. If you've got to go to war, man, you fail. You fail. You have. It should never be the first choice. And this really is. This is about Trump diverting from domestic failures. It's about Netanyahu can't hold on to power unless there's a boogeyman. Let me talk a little bit more about that. Spicy Jester. Doctors at the Department of Veteran Affairs, hospitals nationwide could refuse to treat unmarried veterans and Democrats under new hospital guidelines imposed following executive order by Donald Trump. I have not read up on that. I will have to. Thanks for bringing it to our attention, Spicy Jester. I've been so engulfed in this Iran stuff that I haven't seen that one. Thanks for bringing it up. I will take a look at it. Jeremy Breeden, this will be another Middle East quagmire, but worse with leadership currently in charge. Iran has been studying our military capabilities for 20 years and can destroy an $80 million tank with an $8 EFP. It's not going to be great, folks. I mean, I have no doubt. I have no doubt that we can absolutely decimate Iran. I don't. I have no doubt. Folks, look, the military capability, oh, good Lord. And this is not American bravado. This is not, there is not a, a government, an entity, or anywhere on earth. We are a war machine. When you cut those dogs loose, folks, when I say this, this is not a joke. We are literally the only country on earth that could challenge the entire planet to a kick and ass contest and stand a shot of winning. The, the disproportionate capabilities of our military versus the rest of the world's military, there is no doubt what's going to. That's why I say this is the most boring television episode ever. No, Iran doesn't stand a chance. It still doesn't mean what we're doing is right. It doesn't. And it still doesn't mean you can occupy a territory. Now, defeating a military and occupying a territory are two different things. Vietnam taught us that lesson very. We didn't lose any of the battles in Vietnam. None of them. But we lost the war. Occupation, yeah, that's two different things. I don't want to sound stupid by thinking that, oh, we can just do whatever we want with our military. No, that's not what I'm saying at all, folks. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm talking about when it just comes to a straight up kicking ass contest, the amount of just resources we've put into this. We're so next level science on this. Yeah, there's no doubt how this is going to end up. That's why it's boring. Yeah, war is a failure of imagination, failure of diplomacy, failure. And what's worse is, look. I didn't have I should have had this brought up. 1 second. Oh Lord, where is it? All right, 1 second. I apologize. Stick with me. How necessary is this? Netanyahu said, "Oh well, we had to do this immediately, man. They had to do it now. They were going to have a bomb, and they could have had a bomb in months, man." Well, not according to our intelligence. They couldn't. Not according to our intelligence, they couldn't. Um, let's ask the Trump regime what they think about Iran having a bomb. What is our own intelligence? I mean, we spend a fortune on it. I mean, and it's not like this is from the Democrats or somebody else trying to tell them. This is Tulsi frickin' Gabbard. This is who gives Trump his intelligence. What does she have to say? This is an excerpt from that article. She said some of Iran's nuclear activities would be applicable to developing a bomb, but U.S. intelligence agencies had assessed that Iran was not engaged in key weaponization work. This March, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, again, not a bunch of Democrats, not a bunch of leftists, this is the Trump regime itself, that Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium was at its highest levels and unprecedented for a state without a nuclear weapon. But she also said the U.S. intelligence community continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. Enriching uranium is one thing. It is. You're enriching uranium is one thing, and that's what all this talk is about. Has been about uranium enrichment, and that's one thing. And Iran has done a lot of it, and we can't go back to the JCPOA as it was written before. That's the agreement that Trump trashed because black penis in the envy of Obama. No, we can't go back to that because Iran has made strides in their enrichment program. But you can enrich all the uranium-235 you want. That doesn't make a bomb. It doesn't. And yeah, it's old technology. This isn't new weaponry. Again, we engineered this in the 1930s, built it in the 1940s to have rudimentary nuclear weapons. But no, just having enriched uranium does not give you a bomb. At best, it could give you a dirty bomb. Skeet Sayre, Trump wants to, and I just want to reiterate that our own intelligence from the Trump regime is that no, they're not working on it. They aren't trying to take this fuel and turn it into bombs. Now, not to say they can't, sure, but they're not. So again, this whole argument of, oh, we had to do this now. No, not over a bomb. We didn't. Not over a nuclear armed Iran. We didn't. That is out the window, according to the Trump administration themselves. Skeet Sayre, Trump wants to use this to install martial law. This is part of the plan. A lot of people very much fear this. If we end up in a declared war, yeah, that's a whole new set of realities for us to face. A president with war authorization can do a lot of shit. A president with war authorization can show up and legally, Texas Paul, you need to come with me. You're under arrest. Yeah. My ability to speak legally out the window. Deborah Emery, thank you for the truth. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I don't mean to make that selfish because, I mean, it can happen to everyone. Protest? Oh, no. We're at war. Jan von Ruden, thank you for being here. Part of our international audience, thank you for being here. Your voice is incredibly important. It is. I mean, I talk about this all the time. As Americans, we're an isolated people. We don't travel internationally a lot. We're separated by two oceans, separated by language. Most Americans only know one language. And not a lot of MAGA even has a good grasp of that one language. But it's true. I mean, you being here is incredibly important to our community. Thank you. Jordan, Trump is failing on immigration, the economy, his big, beautiful bill. War is all he has left. Thank you. Boy, you just saw. That's it. Show's over. Jordan nailed it. That's it. That's the show. I love you people so much. I do. I really do. But I'm going to repeat everything Jordan just said. Sherry Ellison, just think all that power in the hands of a friggin' lunatic and moron. And a moron. I mean, there's nothing more pathetic than an 80-year-old geriatric man trying to look tough. And that's not ageism. You know, when I was a young man, I was a bulldozer. I was, man. I was a bulldozer. I'm not anymore. I am not anymore. You know, I'm old. We get old. That's just reality. We get old. We're not the young rubber people we once were. And watching an old man try to seem tough, especially one as pathetic as Trump, it's just sad, man. Nika T, I've been gone for a minute. Glad to be back. Missed you now. Oh, well, hey, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you. That is a lot of support. Thank you. Ron Slater, years ago, Trump said, paraphrasing, only a weak president would start a war with Iran to distract from his failures. I know. The hypocrisy is insane. It's just insane. And their own intelligence doesn't support this. Axel Sunling, thank you for being here. Now, here's my question. You know, before we get to that, we'll just talk about some of the things that, you know, we're talking about. Trump's parade was a laughingstock. Estimates now are about 8,600 people showed up. That's it. His little birthday parade was humiliated. Reports are coming out that he has just went neck deep in Pete Hegseth's ass over this because it was embarrassing, an embarrassing failure. And apparently Pete Hegseth is no longer the little golden boy, and you know how that works. Sharon Reddy, how are we going to defeat Iran when the troops must be sent to control the enemy within? Those people with the audacity to protest. Yeah, we're not going to invade and control Iran. We're not. Iran and Iraq are two very different countries. You would literally be fighting an ideology in Iran. That never works out well. That never works out well. We would control the territory, we would win every battle, and we will lose that war because those people will be dying for God for generations. No, an invasion of Iran would never work. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing with the shadow tankers and the Pegasus, refuelers showing up. They're going to bomb the shit out of them, but I do not see any information at all that we're not moving tanks, we're not moving troops, we're not moving no, we're not going to invade Iran. We're not. Michael Z, sadly, I wouldn't be surprised if this Israel-Iran U.S. conflict will trigger random intense rebel related acts worldwide. That we will see. You will see terrorism over this. This was just sheer stupidity. You will see an increase in terrorism over this. Miguel I'm going to say Arsentalis. Did I get that right? I hope I did. I love to pronounce people's names correctly. Netanyahu's been saying that Iran is building the nuclear bomb since 1996. I know. It's their go-to boogeyman. It just is. Every time Netanyahu gets in trouble, that's exactly why we're here, folks. It is. Anthony Saints, hey, didn't dumbass Trump said that no new wars will happen on his watch? Yeah, you said that. Yep. Like everything else that Trump says, that was a lie. It's me. Says to prevent Iran from getting the nuke, weakens Putin, limits Shahed drone production that are being used to kill Ukrainians, frees the people of Iran from an authoritarian Islamic regime. Thoughts? Hey, this is the one good thing. If they can temporarily destroy Iran's drone production, because Iran absolutely is shipping drones to Russia for Russia to use in Ukraine. That is the one good thing I can see coming out of this at all. And I love you people so much for being so tied in and aware. So you understand, I am not advocating for Iran here. I'm not. They're still doing all the shit I've told you in previous shows that they're doing. They're still causing. They fund Hezbollah. They fund Hamas. The Islamist radicals that are in Iraq that attack our troops. Those are all funded and trained by Iran. I am not advocating for Iran here. I'm not. But this is stupid. And this is about Netanyahu. There are multiple reasons this is going on. Multiple reasons this is going on. What triggered it? Netanyahu's in trouble. You saw him. They bombed Syria for a little bit. That didn't go well. The international community is like, hey, look, what are you doing? Bashar al-Assad is gone. Syria is trying to reconstitute a government. What the hell are you doing bombing Syria? That wasn't very popular. That cost BB currency. So they stopped. He is looking for a war because, and this is the question I want to ask you. Maybe someone can educate me about something I don't know. And if that's going to happen, this is the place it's going to happen with you people. If there is no security threat to Israel, if peace breaks out, like you have Saudi Arabia and Iran making peace, that conflict's not there. You've got Syria stabilizing with a new government that's saying, look, we're not going to do this proxy war shit anymore. Peace is breaking out all over Syria. Syria is highly influenced by Turkey. What does Netanyahu offer Israel? How does he hold on to power if there is no threat, no imminent threat of destruction? What else can Netanyahu possibly offer? What is it that he now runs on if there is no constant, you got to elect me or you're going to die? Randy Oliver, why is the bunker so deep if not for a weapon? You're talking about their production facilities? Randy, that's because Israel bombs them. They have to build their facilities they have to build in hardened facilities. They do, because Israel will bomb them. They know that. That's baked into the cake. That's why their last Salami, their General Salami, their last Islamic Republican Guard commander, his focus was on redundancies. Redundancy of even himself. The leadership that Israel killed in their strikes in Iran were replaced that day. The corporate media still ran with the stories that, Iran is decapitated and they don't have. Nope. That leadership was replaced that day. This is something that Iran, this is their life. This is what their reality is. Kath, I was stationed in Crete, Greece in 1981-82, U.S. Air Force at Suda Bay, but no, not Suda Bay, but Heraklion. Good to know it. You know what we're talking about. Listen to her when she talks about that region, and it's critical nature to all of our force extension. Lori Yates, the carnage of war is horrific. Men that make it home are forever changed. Yeah, see, that's the thing with this too, is it's not going to be I don't know. Maybe y'all see something different, but I'm not getting any of the mail bloggers or anything talking about tanks or anything else. This is just going to be a bomb. This is going to be civilians dying. It is. It's going to be women, kids. These as good as we are with smart weapons at hitting targets. Yeah, we're going to do a lot of damage to Iran very quickly as far as their military capabilities, drone production, etc. Yeah, but you're going to get civilian casualties. You just are. I mean, war is war. But let's talk about a couple of reasons why this is happening. Yeah, Netanyahu. I mean, and I'm not seeing anybody in the comments. I'm sitting here reading your comments. No one is offering, and I've said this on social media. Somebody give me. No one has offered to step up and say, you know what, Netanyahu's good for this. Nobody. I mean, he offers nothing outside of. So Israel must be under constant threat for Netanyahu to remain in power. It's his only claim to power. And that's why we're doing this. There was no imminent bomb. There wasn't. Nothing from the previous week had changed. In fact, negotiations were going really well. You know, the day that Israel attacked, there was another round of negotiations scheduled 2 days later. Just 2 days later, we were supposed to hold another meeting. And they were making huge ground in these negotiations. Iran had already agreed to turn their enrichment over to an international consortium. The only demand that Iran had at that point was that it all had to stay in Iran. What the IAEA wanted was that, okay, you want to enrich for fuel, we'll do that in Europe and give it to you. And Iran said, no, we're not giving up our facilities. We saw what happened to Ukraine. No, we're not doing it. And let's be honest, Iran wants a bomb. They do. Iran wants a bomb. But I don't necessarily agree with what Netanyahu says about that. I don't think they want it to destroy Israel. Although I'm going to tell you, there's no love lost between Israel and Iran. Don't get me wrong. These people hate each other. Nuclear weapons are the stupidest weapons on earth. The ground is useless when you're done. The whole point, the whole chant, river to the sea, all of that is about the Palestinians getting that land. That doesn't happen if Iran bombs Israel out of existence with nuclear weapons. No, I think they want it for the same reason Pakistan has it. Everybody was freaking out when Pakistan developed a nuclear weapon also. They're going to give it to terrorists. They're going to, everything they're saying about Iran. No, they're going to give it to terrorists. There's going to be nuclear bombs going off and terrorists attack. None of that came true. None of that came true. Because if you use a nuclear weapon, you're going to receive nuclear weapons in response. If Iran were to use a nuclear weapon in Israel, we would turn Iran to glass, and it would happen in minutes. It would happen in minutes. I just don't buy into this. Maybe you folks know something more than I do. I'm missing something. Greed, pure fuel, and fear of prison time. Yeah, I hear you. Maybe you folks do. This is why I wanted to do this show as a roundtable today. Because I'm not buying any of this. All I'm seeing is You know, all I'm seeing is the Nimitz carrier group steaming at the cost of millions and millions of dollars a day, massive amounts of ordnance, possibly the loss of American lives, definitely the loss of Iranian lives, definitely the loss of children. And, you know, I just don't see this as a good thing, folks. I just don't. And I'm looking for anybody, somebody smarter than me that can tell me, yeah, this is a good thing. And other than the crippling Iran's ability to hand drones to Russia, I don't know. But given Trump's relationship to Russia, I don't even know that that's going to happen. Yep, the Carl Vincennes and the Nimitz. But here's some of the reasons why this is happening. There's a lot of talk about the tariffs. And we've talked about this before. The trade negotiations are utter failures. They are. Even the agreements, the few agreements that are they're just incremental steps, they're not actual trade agreements that they're coming up with, are horrible for the economy. We're seeing they've revised job numbers down over the last several months. They put out these bullshit job numbers, and I would pull up the ADP numbers that were said, and I would say there's no way to get from there to here. This is wrong. They're fudging these numbers. Sure as shit, they've gone back and they revised down all of those bullshit numbers that the corporate media was more than happy to say, "Ooh, Trump's doing great." And even though he wasn't meeting that 220,000, it's now closer to 230,000 job per month necessity just to break even. Jobless claims keep rising and rising and rising, but the corporate media just doesn't talk about that. Tube Kurt, one argument that is out there is that the mullahs hate us more than they love life, i.e., aren't calculating rationally about nuclear weapons. Yeah, that's the constant thing that we get. Constant. Then why didn't Pakistan use it? They're just as Muslim in Pakistan as they are in Iran. And just to think that, oh, well, that's basically calling Iran an entire nation of suicide bombers. And when you say it like that, yeah, that doesn't work. Nita Hansen, we should get rid of all nuclear. That'd be great, except for the fact that every time it happens, look what happened in Ukraine. Ukraine had nuclear weapons. They gave them up and they got invaded. You're not going to be able to pry them out of people's hands anymore just because of Ukraine. And I'm telling you, folks, that's why Iran wants a nuclear weapon. They do. It changes the calculus. No country with a nuclear weapon gets invaded. They just don't. Lena P., Trump is asking for regime change in Iran. What would that look like Syria? Good question. Good question. That's a good question. I hate to tell you this, folks, but we'd like to see regime change here in the United States. But if you attacked us, if someone bombed us, or if there was even just a terrorist attack, we would unify as a people overnight. There wouldn't be any more us versus them, the political infighting. All of that would evaporate until that threat was gone. That's exactly what happened in Iran. They're talking about, we want regime change. Well, you just did the one thing to ensure that will not happen. You just galvanized every Iranian against you and in support of their government. ET, we need to do what we can to oppose the Mad King peacefully and get the word out. Next protest is said to be on the 17th. Bring friends, get involved. Yeah, there are people trying to coordinate additional protests. I would like to see some more economic protests. I would like to see some more boycott days. That's just me. I think they're more effective. I love the protests and how they're getting people out and they're getting, man, I tell you what, no King's Day. You had conservative church mom, grandmas standing right next to anarchists, just right next to each other, screaming the same chants. Talk about bringing people together. James Valencia, thank you, Texas. No, thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm really asking for your help on this. I'm telling you that I have questions here that I'm just not getting good answers to. I'm just not. Pavilion 01, Pakistan is threatening to nuke Israel. If Israel uses their nukes, possible chance of other countries to get involved. Shit show in progress. Yeah. That's why I say nuclear weapons are Israel has nuclear weapons. They do. They can't use them anywhere because it guarantees they're going to come back the other direction. This is stupidity in the extreme. But yeah, oil prices. We've done show after show talking about oil prices. Oil prices are collapsing. Well, guess what this does? Yeah, oil prices are, you know what? Let me just to show that I'm not full of shit. Just to show you that I'm not full of shit. I like this site. It's not as graphically appealing, but the amount of information is huge. This is oilprice.com. It is good. Oh my, look at that. West Texas Intermediate crude just skyrocketing. Geez, I wonder why. I wonder why West Texas Intermediate crude is skyrocketing and in the mid 70s now, when it was in the lower 60s and the upper 50s and continuing to fall because there's no demand because the economy's tanking. All of a sudden, oil's worth a fortune. See, oil prices were collapsing because Trump went to OPEC and said, stop producing oil. Oil was getting too cheap. And OPEC said, no, that's not our job. You tanked your economy. You tanked the world economy with your stupid trade policies and your tariffs. Now you want me to cut oil production because of your stupidity? No, we're not going to do it. And oil prices were plunging. We've had show after show where we talked about this, how it was a key indicator that the economy is tanking. Well, guess what? You take Iran off the map, and all of a sudden we don't have enough oil around the world to meet supplies, meet demand, and oil prices are skyrocketing again. Now, it's a temporary bump because this too shall pass, and the economy is still screwed. But yeah, that is another reason Trump is doing this. Take Iranian oil production offline for a while. Sherry Ellison, somewhere in deep space, intelligent life is looking at this beautiful Earth and asking, "What the hell is going on down there?" I love that. Have y'all seen that one? It's the old marquees where they're backlit and they put the letters on the marquees. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know exactly. It's not neon. I don't know exactly what you call that, but where it says, "I bet aliens lock their doors when they fly by Earth." But yeah, that is a huge reason we're doing this is oil prices. Oil prices are spiking now. That means your gas prices are going to go up, which is going to hurt the economy even more. And let me show you, y'all are smart enough to understand complex subjects. We're not talking to the MAGA dummies. We're not talking to the morons. You guys understand what this means. This is what's going on with the US dollar. This chart right here. You see this? This is the exchange rate of the US dollar versus the euro. There is a lot of fear that the US dollar is losing its steam. It's losing its world currency status. And yeah, this is a good depiction of why. I want you to take a look here. See this peak? Look at the date. November 22. Well, you know what? Let's go a little bit farther back. We'll start a little bit farther back. This low point right here in the value of the dollar, let's go back. November of 2020. What happened there? These are all important dates. What happened in November of 2020? Something significant happened in November of 2020. Joe Biden was elected. Donald Trump lost the election. And from this point, this low point value of the dollar, here's January, when January, as close as I can get to January 20th, January 19th, is this point right here. This is low point in the exchange rate of the dollar versus the euro. This is the Joe Biden presidency. And the tremendous economy that we had, America's economy was leading the world economy was growing, but the American economy was absolutely booming. And then November of 2022, what happened in November of 2022 to change this trend? Republicans won Congress. Republicans won control of Congress. Uh-oh. Dollars flagellating back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The Biden administration is doing everything they can to maintain our currency value. Then you get this peak right here. Right after the election, boy, Wall Street was like, "Ooh, man, I tell you what." Go back to Donald Trump taking office here in January. This is what he was handed. January 20th, 2025, the day Donald Trump took office. This is the value of our currency. It's recovering, man. It's recovering. And then trade wars. You folks know what this means, right? I mean, y'all understand. Even before we talk tariffs and the increased cost of goods, the devaluation of the American dollar is a tax on you. Let me give you a personal example. Y'all know I've talked about this before. I've wanted to. That's XE. There are several that you can go to. It's just data. That's XE. There are tons. I like XE's charts because they do their charts in blue. The charts are the same no matter what. Somebody in the comments asked, "What is that website?" There are tons of websites that track the currency exchange rates and the value of the dollar. But I like that one because I like blue and white contrast. That's really the only reason I use it. It's the same chart no matter where you go because the numbers are the same. Brian Peacher has a teenager as a I'm going to say meant to say as a teenager I had a poster that showed a mushroom cloud. The saying on the poster was, "Suppose they gave a war and no one came." Yeah, that's what this feels like. No one has an appetite for this. No one seems to have an appetite for this. But this is going on. The American dollar is losing its value. That's a tax on you. You wanted a Mercedes? Well, yeah, it's since Donald Trump took office to today, the value of our currency has dropped 2% against the euro. So you want a German car? Well, yeah, it's now 2% more expensive. That's before tariffs. That's before everything. That is just a straight 2% tax increase on you because of Trump's stupidity. Call it the Trump stupidity tax. And I will tell you, personal example. I've told you, my dream has been to build a woodworking shop. I want to do that. I want to just go get lost in the smell of and the feel and the how it just eats up your mind and you don't think of anything else. Just getting lost in woodworking. That's what I've been wanting to do. And you know what? Y'all know me. I'm frugal. I am. I'm a tightwad. I don't waste money. So I've kind of been timing it. And this Father's Day was supposed to be a really big freaking deal for me. I had saved money and saved money and saved money, my own little personal pennies, and I was going to go out and you know, I'm not the kind of, you know, got money to piss away guy. I'm not. This isn't like braggadocio about, ooh, I got bucks. No, it's not. I had to plan for this. And I was going to purchase several big pieces of equipment, high dollar pieces of equipment. We're going to go into my garage and, eventually into a woodworking shop. I didn't. I just didn't. I bought one piece of equipment this Father's Day. Got a pretty good price on it. Mrs. Texas Paul found me a coupon on top of a sale, and I bought one piece of equipment. The bandsaw I was going to buy was from a company called Laguna. I've done a lot of research. I've looked at Raycon, I've looked at Grizzly, I've looked at a bunch of different options, but I really like the quality out of the Laguna. It's Italian. And it's fucking expensive right now. No one had it on sale for Father's Day because it's expensive. Because of this. Folks, economically, y'all understand a 2% decrease in the value of the dollar isn't just a 2% increase in prices. I mean, there's more into it. I mean, the parts and everything that goes into it, it can be actually multiplied into the cost. They do. Laguna is really good. And I really was going to get a Laguna bandsaw. I was, but I didn't. I just didn't. And it's because of this. So what is this doing to our economy? Because I wasn't going to buy it from Laguna in Italy. No, I was going to buy it from a U.S. retailer here. And they didn't get my money. That economic activity didn't happen. And I am hearing from people everywhere. This Father's Day, which is the second largest tool purchasing holiday of the year, most people held back. Most people didn't spend. And it's because of things like this. Alto Eager says we're going from being able to afford buying things versus making them to being forced to make them because other manufacturing nations will have more buying power than us. That is fiction. And there are several great articles out there. It's a concept. It is. I'm not saying you're wrong. I am not. You're absolutely right. If you weaken the dollar tremendously, suddenly it would become very attractive to manufacture here if you didn't have all of these other things like the fact that we're very old, we don't have the workforce. You can't build thousands of factories here because there's no one to work in them, and the bigots won't allow immigration because the only place that can send us immigration are Asians that they don't consider the right Asians. Bigots have what they consider right and wrong Asians. For instance, a Japanese immigrant, Filipino immigrant, no. The bigots don't roll that way. They just don't. So yeah, there are a lot of other things that go into a weakening dollar. Just doesn't mean poof, we've got factories again. No, that doesn't work that way. And it takes years and years and years to build that infrastructure. There's way more into it than that. Sherry Ellison, Paul, if you think if you can send a truck to Delaware, I'll give you a Melota joiner planer. I can't use it anymore after a stroke. Oh man, Sherry. I'm so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry to hear that. I appreciate that. I really do. That is a very generous, kind offer. But the shipping alone on that would make it impractical for me. It would. But that is very, very, very generous of you. Skeet Sarah, I was in a meeting this morning. I work in telco and have had no work in the last 8 days. Immigration and tariffs have made infrastructure untenable. Yeah. The economy is tanking, folks. That's the whole point of this. And I'm just giving you reasons why. Laura Yates, old school peps live below our means. We do. That is the secret to happiness, folks. If you're young and wondering what one of the secrets, there isn't one secret to happiness. The other, one is don't fight with your wife over stupid shit. But yeah, live beneath your means. That is one of the secrets of happiness. I'll bet that Lowe's and Home Depot are regretting backing the Mad King now. I bet they are. I bet they are. That's the whole point of what I was just saying there. LJ Jones, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. Boomer bitch. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Amen. That cannot be said enough. That cannot be said enough. When Mrs. Texas Paul is not happy, nobody's happy. But yeah, it's not just the euro. This is the one that hurts even more. This is the dollar versus yuan. Everything from China. We're talking before the tariffs. Before the tariffs, just the weakening of the US dollar has made everything from China 11% going on 12% more expensive. And that's without a tariff. Then put the tariffs on top of that. And you can, and if you're wondering to yourself why the Father's Day sales weren't that great, that's why. That's why. Everything is getting more and more expensive. And even things that we manufacture here are getting more expensive because of currency devaluation. Because, just take Ford, for instance. Ford, they build trucks up in Canada. They build trucks in Mexico. They build parts. GM has part plants in Mexico. That devaluation of that currency, that's baked in before the tariffs. Everything is getting more expensive. And these retailers here, they're not trying to screw you. They just don't have the room. They've got to make a profit. They can't operate without a profit. So yeah, everything is getting more expensive. Now, where the gouging comes in is, you remember when we said egg prices were really freaking high because of bird flu? Yeah, this ain't that anymore. It's been more than long enough for them to reconstitute those flocks. This ain't supply and demand anymore. This is, they jacked those prices, got you used to those prices, and they rolled them back a little bit, but they sure as hell haven't come down to where they were before. And that's the problem with this, folks. This is what I've been trying to tell people about tariffs and trying to explain it so even the dummies can understand. What's so bad about tariffs is if you institute a tariff, your retailer has to raise his prices. When, say, you just rip the tariff away, which you can't just do because now it's a trade negotiation. We pull their tariffs away. Well, they don't pull our tariffs away. You've got to negotiate this thing. One, getting them taken away takes an act of God. But even if you could just hypothetically just rip all the tariffs away and say, oops, sorry, bad, we're going to go back. The retailers don't have to lower their prices. And they don't. They come down some, but not totally. And folks, we've got the stupidest, worst leadership. Trump is old. He really is old. He humiliated us at the G7. This is just bad. This is really bad. The corporate media here in the United States, I just want to talk to our European audience one more time and just explain why this is so important for you to be here. Our news media is not telling us this stuff anymore. What I'm about to show you is all over European media. It is all over European media. Nowhere in the US. Nowhere at all. I guarantee you probably less than 2% of Americans have seen this. And that is Trump falling asleep at the G7. Yeah, he's 80 years old. He's 80 years old. And he's not in good shape like Joe Biden was. Joe Biden was old, no doubt. But Trump is not physically fit like Joe Biden was. He's sitting there at the G7 falling frickin' asleep. And I want to give you some idea where you can find this is going to be, I intentionally found this one as a TikTok on Blue Sky so that you can get the idea. It is all over social media. It's on all different levels. But this is the kind of thing our European friends are seeing that we're not seeing here in the US. No corporate outlet here in the United States is showing you these kinds of things, but they are showing you in Europe. I want you to take a look at this video.
A lot done. And I think
what's important here is I want you to watch Mark Carney. This is the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, if you don't recognize him by look. I want you to look at how they're reacting. He's going to turn to Emmanuel Macron and he's going to wink at him. I want you to just understand how much they're handling Trump, how much he humiliated himself, and why he came home early from the G7 and is trying to pivot to a fucking war in Iran because he's just humiliating himself.
And I think we got a lot done, really a lot done. In fact, UK, we signed a big trade deal today, and we're working on others, but we had just a really great relationship with everybody. And
did y'all catch it?
It's really nice. I wish I could stay for tomorrow, and I think we...
One more time. Did y'all catch it? Between Macron and Carney?
And I think we got a lot done, really a lot done. In fact, UK, we signed a big trade deal today, and we're working on others, but we had just a really great relationship with everybody.
This is what the rest of the world sees. And our corporate media won't show us here for fear of Trump and MAGA. They just won't. It's not just fear. It's also the guys that are running, our big news conglomerates and CNN, NBC, CBS. They're all old white boomers that 100% are on board with Trumpism. They are. They're not going to show you the humiliation that Trump goes through. And he did. He just humiliated himself over and over and over again. This is, see, you folks are so smart. This is a test. I'm going to play this once, and then I want you to see if you can catch what's significant about this, and maybe guess what they're talking about in the European news that you're not seeing here in the US. Because first of all, I promise you didn't see this on the news here at all. But see if you can catch what's wrong here.
The UK, and we just signed a document. This is, sorry about that. This is it. A very important document. A little windy out here. Give me that. We just signed it, and it's done. And so we have our trade agreement with the European Union, and it's a fair deal for both. And the UK.
All right. Did you catch what was wrong with that? Actually, no, it's not blank pages. It's just hard to see from a distance. It's actually very stylized, and the color of ink isn't bold black on these. They're decorative. So no, those weren't blank pages. Those were actually real. I knew y'all would get it. He is so freaking stupid. So freaking stupid. And yeah, do you think maybe they're talking about that in the UK and the EU, that the president of the United States doesn't understand the whole Brexit thing? I mean, just listen to it one more time.
The UK, and we just signed a document. This is, sorry about that. This is it. A very important document. A little windy out here. Give me that. We just signed it, and it's done. And so we have our trade agreement with the European Union. And
oh my God. It's over and over and over again. I just want you to imagine what the rest of the world looks at us like. The president of the United States doesn't understand that Brexit happened. Oh, Hillbilly Paul living in the sticks here in Texas, he knows that Brexit happened, and he knows that the UK is not the European Union. And you know what? I also happen to know that agreement that you signed wasn't a trade deal. It was just an incremental agreement along the road of actually establishing a trade deal. So yeah, they handled Trump at the G7, and he humiliated himself. The White House sees that. They know they've got some cushion in the American media, but they don't have it in the European media. And they see what is being played in the European media. They see pictures of Trump while everybody else is talking about critical trade and the disrespect that is. That our geriatric 80-year-old president can't stay awake for critical meetings of the G7. And they did. They absolutely, come on, Grandpa. John Gomez here says the G7 held his hand. They did that. Come on, Grandpa. Come on, Grandpa. Yeah, there is way more out there. Paulo Greco, show the video of Meloni and Macron whispering and looking at Donald. Yeah, just laughing at him. I'll pull it up here in a minute. I will. But there's just so much video out there to see. It was humiliating. Skeets here. Why do I see Foghorn Leghorn when I hear Trump? Because he's a cartoonish idiot. But yeah, we're gonna go and again, MAGA, they're idiots. Our corporate media, They don't ask any questions. But I have a memory. I remember Trump telling Ukraine, you've got to pay us back for everything we ever did for you. What's he demanding from Israel? Because right now we're spending millions upon millions, tens of millions of dollars per day. Those tankers, they aren't cheap. The Pegasus and the Stratotankers that I was showing you that they've already moved into place, they aren't cheap. The bombers are really expensive to fly. That's before you get to the ordnance. What's Israel paying us with? I mean, they started a war. They attacked a sovereign nation. Does anybody ever hear Trump ask what Israel's paying us? And of course, it's not just oil. It's not just that his, little birthday parade got spoiled. And kudos. Look, I got to tell you, I'll never lie. That whole reporting about the parade, I got none of it. I didn't pay any attention to it. I didn't watch any of it. I refused to watch any of it. But seeing other accounts that were actually covering it, and I'll be honest with you, for days, I refused to even look at any of it. I was personally boycotting that parade because I was really angry. I support our military. I support our troops. I really do. It was breaking my freaking heart that Trump took that anniversary, which is, I love history, man. I love history. That was a very significant day in our history. This is the 250th anniversary of the day in which we took the step as a nation to defend ourselves. We established our first military companies on June 14th, 1775. It was the birth of our army, and Trump made it all about him. So I boycotted all of it. I really felt really bad, and I was a little angry at the army leadership and everything. But seeing the footage, oh yeah. I was so proud of the army in their private, quiet protest. 100%. April.dog, best source for aggregated EU news, great content. I appreciate you. Thank you. I was so proud of the army after I started watching that footage. Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch what those soldiers did? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't, because like I said, I didn't watch any of it. I wouldn't watch any of it. It took me days of people repeating this over and over and over and over again for me to finally watch one of these videos. And I was like, oh no, they didn't. Oh my God. Folks, if you were like me and you're Catherine Sophica, I appreciate it. They phoned it in. Yeah. To say that it was 100% a protest. Look, folks, our military can march. They can, especially in a parade. I am talking crisp, tight, step for step, step for step, step for step, in cadence. They march perfectly. And they don't even bob left and right like that. I mean, they just straight line. Oh my God, those soldiers were walking by, wrinkled uniforms, just strolling, nobody in step. Exactly, not marching, just walking. I mean, it was the most beautiful silent protest I have ever seen. And I did. I missed it. I missed it all. I totally, because I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to watch. And I was kind of heartbroken. Kudos to the army. Kudos to the army. And yeah, from what I understand, Pete Hegseth took an ass reaping about this. So if you get a chance, go back and watch that. Go back and watch that. That really, talk about healing your heart. Talk about healing your heart. It was great. It was really great. Captain PJ, you think maybe the soldier was carrying the drone instead of flying it because they didn't want it to capture how low attendance the parade was? Thank you for all your work. Yeah, you notice that there isn't a lot of aerial footage of that parade because their attendance, they're saying it was only about 8,600 people. They expected 220,000. That's what they equipped for. They got 8,600 people. Alan Davis, 77 million stupid voters and like 100 million who couldn't be bothered dragged us into this toilet. Amen, brother. But I think a lot of people have woken up. I really do. I see these midterms as being very, 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 very different. Yeah, that was absolutely outstanding. The old Sherman that came by. And the old lady, you can hear it in some of the video screens. Your tank needs some grease. Oh, GR Soseda, it was a scene out of the movie Stripes. Yeah, it was great, and I've got to apologize to the Army. I do have to apologize to the Army. I was really heartbroken. I really was. I understood it was a command that came from the commander in chief. I understand that, your commanding officers that had to comply with this order, and that some of them are Trumpers and some of your fellow soldiers are MAGA first. I get that. Just like the rest of society, there's going to be factions. But the job y'all did, just strolling along, that was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. But look, folks, this happened, and this is not beautiful. This is really frustrating. And I want to call out Brad Lander here and give him a shout out. This is amazing what he's doing here, and it just shows you what shit ICE is. This man is being arrested. Brad Lander escorted him because this man is doing what he was supposed to be doing. You know how the right-wingers always tell you, hey, we're not against immigration. We just want them to do it legally. We just want them to do it right. We just want to. That's what this man is doing. This is an immigration court. He is doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. But ICE is arresting these people before they can complete all of their obligations. And Brad Lander, he's the New York City comptroller and candidate for mayor, escorted this man to his hearing because people heard, hey man, ICE is at the courthouse. Now I just want you to imagine that, folks. Just you don't have not imagine it. I want you to just soak in what this man is, what ICE is doing. That whole bullshit about, well, we just want them to do it legally. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's what this man is doing.
You all move down. Move down because they'll give you the work here. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
You don't have a judicial warrant. You have a judicial warrant. Do you have a judicial warrant?
Can I see the judicial warrant? You have the warrant. You don't have a warrant.
I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant.
Where is it?
Where is
the warrant? I have it in my hand here. I would like to see the warrant.
You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have the, I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant. By asking for a judicial warrant, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial warrant.
Sorry. Where are you taking?
Yes, that's ICE. Marcia Jones asks, is that ICE? Yes, that is ICE. Folks, every time we show this, every time we show them not following the law, every time we show the hypocrisy, that's how we win this. This is how we do it. That is how we win this, because every one of their arguments just melts to bullshit. Just melts to bullshit. Mike Delaney with ICE in Minnesota. Sad we have to. Oh yeah, you're talking about the murders in Minnesota. ICE in Minnesota. Sad we have to call 911 when police show up. Yeah, you do. Helen P, thanks for the support. I really appreciate it. This went super viral, and when it did, they chickened out. They did. You got Taco at the top. ICE's Taco also. They always chicken out. But this is Brad Lander after he got released. No charges were filed. Governor Hochul just immediately got involved. And you just turned this man into a legend. He was one of the contenders to be in the mayoral elections coming up. Yeah, you just turned this man into a legend. Amen. E.T., that is how we get church ladies chanting with anarchists. Yep, exactly. This is the statement he gave afterwards. I want to go ahead and play his statement.
ARC, the organization that I was volunteering with today, and all the other volunteers that are here. I'm New York City Controller Brad Lander, and I'm happy to report I am just fine. I lost a button. But, I'm going to sleep in my bed tonight, safe with my family. I'm grateful to hear that the charges are not being brought, but if they are, I've got a lawyer. I don't have to worry about my due process rights. At that elevator, I was separated from someone named Edgardo, who I had just met a couple of minutes earlier. Edgardo is in ICE detention, and he's not going to sleep in his bed tonight. So far as I know, he has no lawyer. He has been stripped of his due process rights by a government and a judge that owe him a credible fear hearing before they deport him, and yet have decided instead to strip folks like Edgardo and the prior gentleman that I walked out with, whose native language is Yoruba, and who only got a translator in French. And so when the judge said, do you understand what it means that after I dismiss your case, you'll have no status? He said no status, as he recognized what was about to happen. So I will be fine, but Edgardo is not going to be fine. And the rule of law is not fine. And our constitutional democracy is not fine. This is the third week in a row that I've come down here.
Nails it. Yeah, we're not okay. We're not okay. They are simply just not habeas corpus isn't a suggestion, it's a law. Due process isn't something that is just a suggestion. It's codified in law, and they're just ignoring it. They're just ignoring it. Howie Nutty. Of course, he's poking fun at Howard Lutnick. As Pamela Taylor says in the chat, abolish lice. Yep, I agree. If they can't be managed and run any better than that, they don't need to exist. Vincent Day, thank you for being here. John Rankin, why are they still going to hearings? Because they're abiding by the law. Because they're not the lawbreakers. They're following the process. They didn't even have a translator there for this man. I mean, that man is a laborer. We were okay with taking the sweat of his brow. We were okay with taking, using his back. But we're not going to afford him just basic constitutional rights. And yeah, this is the stupidest part. You get MAGA like, the Constitution is for citizens. No, it's not. It's not just for citizens. They're very specific about that. Everyone gets due process in this country. Everyone gets due process. What your rights are different between a citizen and an immigrant. Yes, there are some differences, but everybody gets due process. And one of those basic things is that when this government chooses to take your liberties, at least they will have someone there to communicate with you in your native tongue so that you can understand the process, which they are no longer following anyways. So Edgardo there, do you know what he's being used for right now? He's making a private prison company money. That's what he's doing. They arrested him. I guarantee you, they arrested him. They shipped him to a private prison run by Geo or Core Civic in New Jersey. And we are now, you and I, paying them to lock up Edgardo. Instead of Edgardo working, doing the jobs that we wanted him to do, that his employers wanted him to do, when he was going through the process, nope, we're going to pay these private prison companies. That's what we're going to do. This is sickening and insane. It is. It's sickening and insane. So, look, I want to leave it to you. I would love to have a roundtable discussion here on the end of it. Where are you coming down on what's going on in Iran? How are you feeling about the fact that they're chipping away at due process? They're already in broad daylight. ICE has no statutory authority to arrest citizens. They don't. While I'm waiting for you to write those comments, I want to remind everybody, realtexaspaul@gmail.com. I want to hear your votes on what we're going to name our mascot. So far, it looks like Blue may be leading, but we'll see. We'll see. realtexaspaul.com at gmail, realtexaspaul@gmail.com. Y'all are going to choose his name. I want to hear what you've got to say. And I want to thank you for the really cool. I got a couple handmade ornaments that were just sent to me that were really cool. I appreciate you. You didn't authorize me in the letter that you sent with it for me to say your name. So I'm not going to say your name, but you know who you are. I want to say thank you. Those were really cool. Very nice. And thank you for the coffee that you sent me, folks. I am truly grateful. Again, I will not call you out by name if you don't specifically authorize me to in the letter, because a lot of people just, their privacy, they don't want their be called out by name. So if you're going to send me something like that, which is incredibly gracious of you, please encourage in the note that, hey, it's okay to say my name. Okay. But I appreciate you. Thank you very much. The very generous of you. Was very touched. Yeah, I agree. They're acting like the brown shirts did in World War II Germany. Seems like this is the general refrain, is that people are just pissed off and scared. And this is a true statement. John Rankin says it's freaking ridiculous and it's not going to sustain. You can only push people so far. That is true. And I have to say, every one of these incidences, yes, it's sickening. Yes, it's heart-wrenching. But when people see it, and it's not some abstract where Donald Trump can say, we're deporting the criminals, and you get to see it. Then all of a sudden you have to live in reality. And sentiment has changed. Trump is underwater even on immigration. Yeah. I thought they were supposed to be out arresting criminals. That's what they were selling. You're actually sitting at immigration courts? Really? Talk about the laziest of lazy. Of course, leadership matters. Our president is lazy and stupid. Why wouldn't ICE be? I mean, isn't that just the laziest of the lazy? Sit at immigration court and just pick people up that show up to do what they're supposed to be doing? Isn't that just the ultimate in laziness? I mean, I get it. ICE agents are the dumbest of the dumb. They are. As far as agents go, you want to know, everybody thinks, oh, the FBI agents are the top tier. No. Nope. Treasury are the top tier. They are. The smartest, best educated, most capable agents are Treasury. Then you've got like FBI. Then you've got, third tie for third. You've got, IRS and postal and, different groups that have special. A lot of people don't even know they have special agents. Different organizations for just the quality of people that end up working. Then below that, you get the yahoos that are drug enforcement, and way down at the bottom, scraping the bottom of the barrel, are ICE agents, the dumbest of the dumb. And this is Martha, man, I love that you were so. This was going to be part of Friday's show. Yeah, not only is Puppy Killer in the hospital, if y'all don't know that she actually collapsed. Here, I should have had a graphic for that. Let me do my job. I'll show you my post about that. But yeah, Puppy Killer, Christy Puppy Killer Gnome gets carted off to the hospital in an ambulance, and the corporate media has zero fucking questions about it. They just print what was released, that she had an allergic reaction, and she's fine. She's fine. Sure, it wasn't, are you sure it wasn't an eating disorder? Are you sure it wasn't something more serious? I mean, it's not like you could, I don't know. You're a news agency. I don't know. Maybe you should employ some journalists instead of just reprinting what they hand you. I mean, for Christ's sake, this, Christy Gnome is not the picture of health. She just isn't. This woman is nursing a serious problem. I mean, she's got some sort of disorder. Nobody is this rail frickin' skinny that is not, I mean, this is not a healthy look. This is, to me, body concept, body image issues or something. She is not healthy. And she collapses and has to be taken to the hospital in an ambulance. You'd think that'd be page one. Department of Homeland Security head in the hospital. You'd think that would be all over corporate news. Nope. Nope. Uncle Fatty, Diaper Don cares more about the perp walk than the perp. This is just part of the show, just part of the grifting game. Ride or die Dems, call them out. Amen, brother. Stay frosty. You know, and I'm not picking on people with eating disorders. That's a thing, man. That's a struggle. That is a struggle, man. That is freaking hard. But for Christ's sake, she is a leader in our government, and she just fell out. Had to be stuck in an ambulance and carted to the hospital. You think it might be something that we would be, get some information on. Nope, they just put out a press release that, she had an allergic reaction. She's fine. Bullshit. I call bullshit. Well, look, folks, I do appreciate you being here. That is what I have for you today. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your input. I'm glad to see that I'm not alone in this. I just don't see an appetite for this whole, this is tired. This whole, we're going to go attack Iran thing. This is tired. People are sick of people dying for stupid shit. This just wasn't necessary. Yeah, she is not. She does. She looks like a Holocaust survivor. She really does. That is not natural. That is not somebody who's just naturally skinny. There's a difference between skinny and what she is. Zempic. No, I did. That is, I ain't eating shit for days. Anybody ever seen a picture of her putting something in her mouth? No, I didn't do Tucker and Ted Cruz. I didn't. Because I'll be honest with you, Ted Cruz looking like an idiot isn't for folks. What they're talking about, what he's talking about there. Ted Cruz did an interview with Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson calls him out, just makes him look like a freaking idiot, because Ted Cruz is all on the rah-rah, we're going to attack Iran, this, that, and the other bullshit. And Tucker Carlson just made him look like a freaking moron that he is. Well, everybody knows he's a moron. And I'm not going to I don't want to listen to Tucker Carlson talk. Do you? That guy just makes me sick. I mean, it just makes me sick to listen to that. If you wanted to punish me, and like you locked me in prison and you want to torture me, make me listen to Tucker Carlson. Make me listen to Donald Trump talk. That's like nails on a freaking chalkboard. So no, I didn't post that video, but it is all over the place. Of just all you got to do is Google or go to Blue Sky and do a search for Carlson and Cruz, and you'll get that video, hundreds of it. But feel free to go. I don't want to. I don't want to. And you can't make me. But yeah, I just watching all this happen. I just don't want it to happen. I don't want people to die for no damn reason. This is just, it's making me sick. It is. It's making me sick. I don't want people to keep dying for no damn reason, so that Netanyahu, another geriatric old weakling, can stay in power, and Trump can distract from his utter freaking failures. I don't want this anymore. I don't. This is like the most tired old script in the world. It is. You're fucking up the economy. You're screwing your own base that works out in the oil industry out of their jobs. Netanyahu's going to have to, suddenly offer something more than, I can attack somebody if you want. Be scared. Man, I'm sick of it. This is tired. If this were a television show, it would be canceled. Anyway, that's what I have for you today, folks. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you again. I appreciate you. Remember, go to realtexaspaul@gmail.com. And somebody asked, new person of the audience asked what the mascot looks like. Cruz, the yellow rose of Texas. I appreciate you. I can pull that up real quick. I can pull that up for you real quick so that you folks know what you're voting on. This is our mascot. We're coming up with a name for him. You're going to name him. So far, blue seems to be really popular, folks. It really does. Couple other interesting ones out there. Several of you want me to name him Dick. Oh, y'all are hilarious. Y'all are hilarious. Oh my God, y'all are hilarious. But yeah, go to realtexaspaul.com. Y'all will choose his name. I'm not going to choose it. Y'all choose it. Send us an email. Let us know what you think. And we'll do that. In the meantime, enjoy some Texas cities at night.